It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. That's right. The Titans head to Cleveland on Sunday. They will face the Browns coming off of a short week after a Monday Night Football loss to the Steelers last night. And Cleveland will be without star running back Nick Chubb, expected to miss the entirety of the 2023 season after suffering a knee injury on Monday. 3 Florida players and 1 Tennessee player have been suspended for the first half of their upcoming games this weekend for flagrant unsportsmanlike actions at the end of Tennessee's loss at Florida on Saturday. Vols defensive lineman Omar Norman Lott will miss the first half of Tennessee's home matchup against UTSA. On Monday, the Chiefs and star quarterback Patrick Mahomes agreed to terms on a restructured deal that gives him over $210 million between 2023 and 2026, the most money in NFL history over a 4-year span. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Blaine and Mickey on a Tuesday. Listen, I don't always like to take a victory lap, but sometimes common sense takes over. I like to pride myself as a common sense guy. I will always credit where credit is due. But, Lucas, I asked you to have a little song ready. Can you do 2 things at once? Can you hit the breaking news sounder and the song I asked you to play?
Wait, so you're saying at the same time?
Yeah, can you do it at the same time?
Ooh, okay.
If not, just hit the song. Oh, there you go. So for all you football fans who are like me, you sickos who will watch any game any time of year that comes on, what have I been calling for? A merger, Blaine, for all these years.
Oh, you have? Yes, USFL XFL.
The US
You called it. I have heard
XFL.
nobody else say that but you. You called me. I didn't know what the heck you were talking about. But
Guess what is happening?
I saw that. I could not believe it.
A merger between the USFL and the XFL. Look, man, if you love football, it gives more people jobs in football. They have some great things that they've done, like the eye in the sky, and I like the kickoff, and there's things that I like that they do.
Well, it will create less jobs because there's only one league.
Nah, same number of teams, hopefully. Just roll with me here. They were both going to fold if they didn't go together. They were both dead.
Yeah.
Although the Rocks League said it had lost $60 million, and the other one said it was actually making money. LOL. Neither one of them was making money. I don't know if they will now, but this gives them a chance to survive. And here's the thing. All the super smart people out there have been saying this for years, Blaine. Really smart people, like your level of intelligence, Lucas's level of intelligence, not stupid like me.
Chess champion.
Well, the National Football League doesn't need a development league because it has college football. I'll give you that. It does have college football. But think of all the crazy systems that people run. And the quarterbacks are never in a huddle. And they're never calling plays at the line of scrimmage. They look at a picture of a Cheeto and Justin Bieber and a bicycle, and that tells them which receiver is your one read before you tuck it and run. Lucas is literally eating Cheetos right now. Thank you. It's time for the NFL to roll into this thing and say, develop quarterbacks here. Send your quarterback here if you want to. Your third string guy, your practice squad guy. He can play in these leagues and come back and forth if that's something you're interested in. If not, you don't have to. You could develop linemen there. You could develop guys there. DBs could go and get snaps there. You could do all that stuff. If you got some nutty rule, Blaine, that you want to try, you could try it in that league. If you want to do the thing where you don't onside kick at the end, you get, 4th and 11 from the 37-yard line, and if you don't get it, then the other team gets, you know what I'm saying? You could do all that stuff. The combining of these leagues is the beginning of my dream to someday be commissioner of the USXFL.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, are you going to be the commissioner?
I think I could do it. I don't even think I know I could.
Oh,
I'm
at the MAC commissioner this past weekend, so maybe he have some connections. I know that's just the MAC.
Return of the Mac. Speaking of that, Coach Mac today brought to you by Two Rivers Ford. Look, man.
Sunbelt commissioner, whoever, man. You know.
Keith Gill's a good commissioner. Whoever's commissioning the MAC, I mean, they're doing their own thing. The MAC and the Sunbelt have kind of been like, we don't care what everybody else is doing. We'll just do what we do. Mm-hmm. The MAC is the one that will outlast all of them because all those schools in that area, it's a perfect geographic fit. They're all right there with each other. It's great. All the Michigan schools and
Ohio school.
Ball State and all the Ohio's. But look, man, the USXFL, if the NFL is smart, you could turn this into a thing that you got behind a little bit. Again, we want to try a different kind of kickoff. That's what we're going to do in this league this year. We want to try something where the, clock doesn't run after this in the second. You can do anything.
So after the merger, then let's say a year passes. Do you, as the National Football League, then buy that league? That way, then you can dictate.
Oh, I'd buy it. Yep.
Or do you buy it immediately?
I don't even know if you have to buy it. I think it's you just have a market. You lease it with an option to buy, just some kind of marketing agreement. Just a marketing agreement.
Okay,
but the marketing agreement, Blaine, involves them saying, here's a bunch of money. But they have TV deals in place. Each one of those leagues had its own TV deals.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the NFL loves TV, and that's more TV products. Well, guess what? I should be running this stupid thing. Why is it taking them so long? You could spend every one of those games doing profiles on NFL players and teasing the Pro Bowls coming up and the Pro Bowl will be passed, the draft, and you could spend it all as just an entertainment and advertising vehicle for more NFL stuff, selling more merchandise. You could send those dudes to play in other places if you wanted to.
Uh-oh.
Export
How many teams will it be now in this merger?
No one knows.
Matter of fact, let's start with, Mickey, you're the guru. Now that you combine the leagues, what is the name? What are the initials?
Well,
oh, you haven't thought that far.
No, I have. USXFL. But I know that doesn't roll off the tongue and would look dumb on a hat.
Yeah.
I got to do better.
Yeah, you got to get something better than that.
Something like North American Football League or like the NAFL.
Okay. So when they merge, how many teams will it be? Do we know? The reason why I say that is I'm wondering if it's at least half the NFL teams or the same amount. Let's say, 25, maybe not 32. Because here's what I would envision after you just gave me this thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but you tell me. Attach maybe one or two team of the NFL to one of their teams, and that's where you send your players for your practice squad to develop. So then now it is a farm league, but now it's attached to actual teams, team to team.
You could almost do
Say, hey, even during the practice, send them down there in the offseason. Hey, we do this. Or play in their league during their season. Develop this guy, whether it's offensive lineman, quarterback, DB, whatever it may be. And then you come back and say, hey, this is what we like.
In the soccer world, that's sending someone on loan.
So that's right. See, that's what it sounds like, right?
There's a precedent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On loan. You could even do it for each, like the NFC North could have a team. That's where all their players went. The AFC South could have a team. Because I'm thinking this thing probably couldn't be more ever than like 12 teams.
Right. Okay. So you can get, 2 teams or so, 2 or 3 teams per team.
Yeah. And you're sending your guys there. You got a big lineman. Maybe he was a old lineman in college. You're like, man, this guy's a defensive lineman. You know what, you rascal? You're going to go play this 10-game schedule with these guys as a defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
It makes too much sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Man,
I think all of us have kind of been waiting for some form of a farm league for the National Football League. And then you get to look at guys in game. You can do all you want to and put them on the practice squad and play them in preseason games. And I think that's kind of gradually changed a little bit. More current players are going to be playing in those preseason games. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I really do. I like it.
Man,
yep.
I feel like all my dreams are coming true. I told my wife I didn't have any dreams anymore.
Yeah,
then I forgot about this.
You told me that too.
Yeah, I don't have any dreams anymore. Like my life's effectively over at this point. I have dreams for my family and my kids.
Right.
But like not for myself.
Your personal dreams. Yeah, we were talking about punch lists. Things you want.
The Scorpions are never going to call me. I'll never be in the Scorpions.
Well, you've got to get behind the stage and take a picture with them. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's probably as close as I'll ever get. Plus, they're in their 70s now. Who knows if they'll ever make it back here? But the USXFL can be my new dream. To be here we go. Tyler says in the F&M Bank chat, Mickey and The Rock as co-commissioners. Mm-hmm. I could go toe-to-toe with The Rock. He could smell what I'm cooking. I'm just saying, man, people are behind this in the chat. It's not often that we call for something and then it happens. I've been calling for this for probably 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? From day one?
Yeah. Ever since the Alliance AF died, I said everybody else who ever starts up has got to unite as one. You can't split this thing.
Well, you got to have the NFL on board now.
And you got to have the NFL on board. That's the
think
thing.
yeah.
You got to make that happen. All right, this is not a ding-dongish thing. Yesterday, we got so many phone calls. We were trying to figure out a running back duo name for Derrick Henry and for Tyjae Spears. I don't know if we ever settled on finalists. I continue to get texts about this until about midnight last night.
Mm-hmm.
I got another text this morning from somebody with another idea. We appreciate all the phone calls and participation. It's the most phone calls we ever got on anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to reopen that kettle of fish, but at some point we need to sort through all the suggestions and put like 4 of them on @Blaine and Mickey on Twitter. See if we can nail this thing down, and then start our T-shirt empire to go along with the USXFL. Because it feels like we could sell a lot of T-shirts.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I think all that's ready.
Slash and flash.
Sword and spear.
Yeah.
Tidal wave.
Ooh.
There were some good ones. I mean, we had a good time with this yesterday. Here's what we also forgot. We didn't get to Ding Dong of the Week. We need to do our Ding Dongs of the Week. I have a candidate that, I don't know, it's probably going to make some college football fans unhappy around here.
Oh, well, mine's going to be ding donger to the defense of the D-line.
Okay.
For the balls.
Oh.
We might all have similar ding-dongs.
My ding-dong may not be the same as
our
yours.
ding-dongs cannot be similar. No ding-dong is similar to one another.
So we'll get to that. Also, we had a bunch of people now that football season has started. Normally on Tuesday, we do What Caught Your Attention. So we also need to work in some of What Caught Your Attention along with your ding-dong, 615-737-1045. You can roll into the chat. Coach Mack is going to join us at 2:20. It's a big day with a lot of football talk. Titans, we never really got to break down the game much.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we need to get to that. Blaine, you had some observations about the Vols, and you said, I'll get to them maybe Tuesday. We can get into observations. It sounds like the ding-dongery may involve some of those observations. So we'll get into all that and more next. I'd love to have your participation. Beautiful weather, beautiful Tuesday. Let's have a beautiful show, folks. Lady Mickey 1045, The Zone. Ring-a-ding-ding-dong. Normally we do this on Monday, but we're just doing it today. Maybe a ding-dong caught your attention. That's normally what we do on Tuesdays, what caught your attention. Especially fun during football seasons when there's plenty of things to catch people's attention. This segment brought to you by Mark Spain. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. Tyler says the ding-dong is Aaron Rodgers, who went on the Pat McAfee show and said there's ideas that some of noises from the Dolphins when they're lovemaking is actually healing to the body.
Oh, yeah, that was true. Yeah, because he's going to use that to help him heal his body. That was a dolphin, man. Dang, how can you pull that up so fast there, Lucas? Man, that was
Would anything surprise you that he said about what's healing to the like? We've been around Bill Romanowski a lot. We knew what he was willing to do to enhance his performance, like flying to Germany to harvest sheep urine.
Yeah, that was way out there. Well, also, I think Aaron Rodgers did some new procedure supposed to help out the healing. Talking about there's a possibility he could play when the playoffs start. Some new procedure to Achilles tears.
I don't know if they'll be around for the playoffs, but
well, that's true.
But that rascal, nothing would surprise me.
Well, desperation, would make you do something like that because he's thinking, hey, man, it's this year or maybe one more? Maybe, but I was planning on just this year.
Well, if things went well this year, this was going to be it. Yeah. But now I need a next year to have my this year.
Yeah.
Let's get to some ding-dongs here. Eric in Nashville. Eric's been too long since we've heard from you, man. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, it's been about 3 months, guys. I've just been going through some stuff the last few months, guys. Wish me best of luck tomorrow. I'm going in for colonoscopy. Not looking forward to it, but I got no choice. Yeah, but at least better next week. It's going to be my 60th birthday next week. So
happy birthday. Happy early birthday.
Hey, guys, before I get to my ding-dong, I actually tried to get through yesterday for the name, but I've got one. I don't know how it's going to affect you guys, but I think it's a good one. I'm going to call the backfield Torch and Scorch, and also and I also got a couple of different songs if you want to go with it. Either Fire by the Ohio Players or Burn Baby Burn by the Tramps.
Oh, Disco Inferno. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So, guys, my ding dong, it's got to be, and you may have heard about this, Mike Greenberg of Get Up on ESPN. You may have heard about this. Last Friday, they got into a discussion. Of course, it revolved around his New York Jets. But they were talking about the night before the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. And they were saying the fact that if the Vikings drop out of the race, quarterbacks you might be interested in, they said, of course, Kirk Cousins and Mike Greenberg was willing to give up the first-round draft pick, whatever, to get a quarterback so his beloved Jets win the Super Bowl. But then Bart Scott threw out the name Ryan Tannehill. And Mike Greenberg said he does not want Ryan Tannehill near the organization. He thought it was washed up. He's done. Basically, that's what he said. Then they went over the Titans' schedule, and he said basically that the Titans would not win a game up until the bye. He kept saying Chargers lost, and then he said, of course, the games after that, they were going to lose. Well, of course, that didn't happen, and now, of course, we haven't heard any type of apology or retraction from him. So, Mike Greenberg, you get my ding-dong, and I hope the Jets go on the crapper. Guys, y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon. Well, speaking of the crapper, I hope everything goes well with the colonoscopy there, brother. Been there, done that. Hey, you got to go do it sometime, everybody. Here's looking up your address. Lucas Panzica, what is your ding-dong?
I got to go with Josh Heupel.
Oh.
I got to go with Josh Heupel.
Does this involve Mincy?
No.
That was pretty ding-dong-ish.
That is a whole situation.
Yeah. What happened with him besides him not – well, he was there, but he didn't start, right?
He got – what was it? Simple possession charge.
Cited for marijuana possession.
And so they took him to Florida, or as my son would say, they taked him to Florida.
Right, that's what I said. But he didn't.
But only to play special teams. His suspension was you can't play offense.
Yeah, that was his penalty.
Yeah.
Or was that a team penalty?
The team said, "Hey, sorry, he can go, but he can't block against these Gators."
Because the news of his citation just came out like yesterday.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of scratching their heads. Why did Mincy play but only special teams? And I guess that was the in-house penalty. But my ding-dong of the week goes to Heupel because of the timeout that he called with 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter. When Tennessee players are essentially walking through the tunnel, Billy Napier's taking his headset off and walking off the sideline, and they hold everything up. No, because Heupel called a timeout. And then Florida just takes another knee. Graham Mertz takes his knee, and then it kind of boils over and starts to be some pushing and shoving. And now 3 Florida players and 1 Tennessee players have been suspended for the first half of their upcoming game. Tennessee defensive lineman Omar Norman-Lott cannot play in the first half of the game against UTSA on Saturday. Josh Heupel was asked about it after the game and essentially said, just one final chance to get the ball score and get an onside kick, but there were 7 seconds left in the game, or 9 seconds, however many there were when he called the timeout. That explanation didn't make a lot of sense. All it really did was add to the tension of the environment and create that situation to boil over a little bit, and it ends up with 4 players being suspended. Not saying it was Josh Heupel's fault that people are pushing and shoving, but it certainly did not help the situation. That timeout just didn't make any sense.
No, you know what? I do get his thought process, but at the same time, he should have told his players, now, if they down the ball, let's be smart. Let's remind them. They are still college students. Let's remind them. There are a lot of emotions involved in this game, and then they came up short. So you just got to throw out the reminder. I get there now. And, you can say, I can take a timeout. We can get a play. You never know what happened. Okay, let's not debate that. You can do what you want to do as the head coach, but also you need to be reminding your players. So that's what I would probably say on that. But, boy, that could have been way worse than even what it was, to be honest. So, but I was stunned, too, that he even called timeout. Now, there's an analogy in your brain that I do like, and when I keep saying analogy is, and I say this all the time, the game isn't over until it's 0 seconds on that clock. So he was just trying to buy time, whether he was trying to make the game more respectable or, he just was pissed off that they were going to lose. He called timeout. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a little bit ding-dongery. Yeah, but my ding-dong is naturally them jumping off sides, the defense. Everybody in the stadium knew what they were trying to do, even Lucas. And I don't think he would have jumped off sides. Yeah, so that one there, man, I think what happened in this game is I thought they got outplayed. I thought they really got outcoached. But ultimately, I think they let their emotions get the best of them in this game instead of just doing their job and looking at this game as though it is just another game. And block out all the noise and all the rivalry and where we're at and we haven't won and all these things. At the same time, it's still just another game. And play and do your job. So I thought that was unique. I got a ding-dong, and maybe I could be wrong, but I want you guys to correct me. Nobody has said anything. This is why I haven't brought up. It's for regards to the Titans. And this is, why did Mike Vrabel go for that 4th down and 4 on the 46? On his 46, by the way. I'm just curious because I'm trying to figure out what his thought process was at the time early in the game. So I don't know. I'm not a coach, but I do know I would have punted that ball, especially when you say, I'm going to back him up and you hang it up. And maybe he thought he was going to kick it out of the end zone or what have you, but I don't know. But I'm still trying to figure out why he went for it there early in the game. Anybody got any suggestions? You can call us, or Lucas, Mickey, you guys can explain it to me. But I have that one there, I have no idea what any of that, why that should make sense. Like, usually you can make sense out of when a coach make a decision.
Okay, here's probably what he was thinking.
Yeah. Right? Okay, well, I can't think of anything. I just want some suggestions. And so it's on the ding-dong list.
I was looking to see. I have the Sunday press conference transcript pulled up. I'm looking to see if he was even asked about it.
No, nobody asked him. I was listening the entire time.
Yikes.
I listened the whole way. Because we won, it became a non-factor. But for me, you're always looking for tea leaves to tell you about how coaches make decisions. And to me, the only question should have been, hey, what was the thought process for going forward on 4th down? Not testing. We won the game, but it's like, okay, I want to get into what maybe that will help me then observing as a media guy on why you're making decisions. And maybe then I don't ask the question the next time you do make a decision. I don't know. Every case is his own little case study here. But that one there, I couldn't come up with anything. I was like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. Maybe it tells you when you're on your own 40-something yard line that you're supposed to go for it. It's better to go for it. Analytics and then punt it. I don't know. But usually he's playing the position game,
Oh, nobody
we're
feels
going to back them
positions.
up, make them
Right.
go 3 and out, and then we're going to get the ball right back here, and then we're going to go a couple first downs, and we at least in field goal range. If one first down, you're in field goal range. So I was trying to.
The other thing that stuck out to me when Vrabel spoke yesterday, today's Tuesday, so yesterday, I believe it was Joe Rexrode who asked him about they averaged 16 yards per punt return, the other team. And he said, what do you think about the punt return coverage? He said, we cover punts. He's like, it was 16 yards or whatever he said. He said they were big returns. I don't know what you're talking about. We're kicking it 60 yards and we're getting a 44-yard net. And Rexrode was like, but there were some times though where he caught the ball and there was nobody around him. Well, we cover punt. That's all he would say. They gave up 16 yards per punt return.
Yeah, I thought
that's
I
concerning.
heard him say something about we were running down there. We just missed the tackles or something. Sometimes the gunner wasn't even getting down there.
That dude was catching it sometimes, and nobody was in 10 or 15 yards of him.
Well, that happens at games because their kicker actually, the Chargers, was doing somewhat similar, but it had a little more hang time.
That dude was kicking them a mile high.
Yeah.
It was crazy to watch.
So
J.K. Scott.
J.K. Scott, just kidding.
But hey, man, you got to get some guys down there, at least make the guy stutter and move his feet. That way it helps everybody else get down there. Remember, that's what I saw 40 out there, the gunner.
Yeah.
And he was not getting down there.
And Vrabel even added at the end, especially when it's single press.
And this was single press. That's what I'm looking at. Because I get it when it's double jam. Every now and then you're going to get hemmed up.
Yes.
I've been there. I got hemmed up.
Single press, though.
Single press? Oh, man. If I could not run him, I'm sketching him out like on film. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna attack him, and then he's going to be worried about me trying to run him over, and then I'm going to just,
Well, and people do what they do typically, and you know what they're going to do. Like the Patriots realize we can just run a guy down the line of scrimmage and go block this kick.
Oh, that was awesome.
It was.
Oh, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I never.
You never
tried
thought
that.
about that.
I am so mad because I tried to think outside the box, even as a player. Like, okay, just run and do your. Well, dang, what if I run in a zigzag? I'm still in my lane. I may confuse him. I know where I need to be. I can't just be a robot as a football player, as an athlete. You gotta at some point. Football comes into play. Your instincts have to come into play, and knowing your responsibilities at the same time. Dang.
I'll get to my ding dong. Frank has been patient on the phone. Let's get to Frank. 615-737-1045. Frank, what's your ding dong of the week?
Hey guys, my ding dong for the week is you're driving down last night and you're getting ready to score. You hadn't won 2-0 and since 1993, and my ding dong for the week is Deshaun Watson. Not once but twice did you grab a face mask. It cost you 30 yards, man. You could have won the game last night and had been 2-0 for your franchise. Since 1993. So that's my ding dong, man.
Yeah. He was a ding dong in this game, period. First of all, he used a straight arm and kept his throwing hand in the mask.
Yep.
By the way. And let's not talk about how he got away with pushing that referee. I was like, whoa. And then the referee was trying to get him back and all that, but you can't put your hands on the referee. And not especially, he was definitely, hey, get off of me. Yeah, it wasn't no, hey, man, hey, you don't. It was very, let's say, aggressive in that. So, I'm going to say this. I said he was going to look rusty last year. That was last year.
Yeah.
This is New Year. Deshaun Watson does not look like a top 5 quarterback or wherever he was. But he doesn't look nothing like how he looked now. I don't know if that's because he set out, because he's not comfortable with the offense. It's a little different style. I don't know what it is. But he doesn't even look the same to me as a quarterback. So I'm stunned that he looks that way. And if they don't win this year, that coach is going to be on the hot seat. Right? Immediately. If they don't make it to the playoffs, I think he's gone. I don't care what they say. And then Watson's not going nowhere.
Oh, no.
He may trade, but ain't nobody going to trade. I wouldn't trade. He's playing horrible. Man, I don't know, man. What do you guys think what you saw? I was like, this is not good. I was like, he does not look the same player. I
The
don't know what it
Steelers
is.
scored 14 points against the Cleveland offense and 12 points against Cleveland's defense.
Yeah, their defense legit. Sportsy is the man. I
Yes.
mean, he's good. I mean, I told you, this dude's Mr. Joe Cool, man. He's an exceptional coach. Defensive coach.
I heard Joe Buck say that was the first defensive touchdown of T.J. Watt's career, and that surprised me yesterday on the Scoop and Score.
That's really hard to believe.
Yeah.
As many people as he's hit, that's really
He's
surprising.
I guess he's doing the hitting and not the scooping.
Well, he's hit everybody there is to hit, that guy.
Well, and it's funny how we're bringing that up because he got 81 tackles, which was surprising to me that number was that low in Steelers history. Is what was the 56? What's his name? Highsmith or whatever his name was. He's the one that caused the fumble, and he picked up one and scored a touchdown. So to me, he was the player of the game, in my opinion. Wow, he's an unstoppable force, but he picked up a fumble to Highsmith or whatever the 56 name is, caused fumble on a sack. Yeah.
Throughout history, few teams have done a good job of the Steelers, it seems like, of finding linebackers and front seven type guys who just fit their system and plugging them in. They do a great job of identifying guys in the first round and the fifth round, and James Harris and everybody else. They do a great job of identifying guys who fit their system and just plugging them in and get out. Ryan Shazier, who was injured and came back, made a miraculous physical. They find dudes who fit their system and they just plug them in and they go.
They don't miss a beat.
They never miss a beat. No losing records under Mike Tomlin. All right, I get to my ding dong. Jeremy in let's get to Jeremy in Southern Illinois wanted to weigh in on this Watson ding dongery, although maybe that's a bad term. What's going on, Jeremy?
Yeah, the Salukis.
Yeah,
I definitely know them.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to agree, man. Deshaun really killed me last night. I had a parlay that literally just needed them to finish, the spread, and they were literally up 3. And my man was acting like Ryan Tannehill in the first quarter of the Chargers game. He just no matter what was happening to his line, which he knew what was happening, he just held the ball out and just pretended like there wasn't 7 Steelers all surrounding him. It just, oh man, it's plumb ignorance, just like your boy that just called said. And having his hand on two different face masks is just it just seemed like he was just trying to get rid of my money. I was so upset.
I'm sorry about that.
He was doing it on purpose, like he knew the money line. And
trying to get rid of your money.
Money.
Bob in Hendersonville has been waiting patiently. I don't know if Bob has a ding dong, but maybe some kind of memory from the past. What's up, Bob?
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing, brother?
Good.
Good. Hey, this is not a ding dong. It goes back to what you were talking about earlier about your dream.
Yes.
Being the commissioner of the new farm team for the NFL, the USFL that merged recently. And you talked about calling for something until finally that happens. Your dream is fulfilled. Do you remember what you called for and the Titans must have heard because it happened?
The thing I've called for the most these last few years was the slant pattern. That happened once on Sunday. Other than that, I can't think of it. So what is it?
Wait, was it a kicking coach?
Oh,
It was.
Yeah, wasn't that it?
James Wilhoit, for days, you called for the Titans
you did call.
to
You
hire
mentioned
him
when
as
I said
kicking
it.
coach when we were struggling with our kickers, which we still are, but until we got Nick Folk. But anyway, it finally happened because they did that after hearing you for days and days. It happened. And just wanted to compliment you on that and say that your dream might still be alive about being the new commish.
Well, maybe
there you
a
have it.
broken clock, they say, is right twice a day. So maybe I could be right twice in my life.
Oh,
Once
I
on
remember
Will
that.
Hoyt. I do remember that.
It was like the next day. You were calling for it on the air, and then I think the next day we found out that they hired James Wilhoit.
Get James Wilhoit. He's literally down the street. He could just drive over there during lunch. I know he's got a job. I think he's a teacher. He could just drive over there in his lunch break.
Well, I think where a lot of that happens is people don't want them to know that they don't know. It's
Yeah,
okay to not know
okay to not
about kicking. All of the coaches got a Vrabel. Even I don't know kicking. It's a specialty.
To me, it says you're smart if you would say,
hire.
yes, James Wilhoit knows more about it than all of us. Hey, man,
Yeah.
you got money coming out your ears. Every team should have a kicking coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. agree.
Every team. You got all the money in
Even
the world.
if you're leasing them for part time.
Yes, you could just lease
For
James
training camp
Wilson.
or off season, whatever it is.
Hey, he's a part-time employee. He comes in twice a week, and he's here on game day.
Yeah.
Steven Gostkowski is the kicking coach at Lipscomb Academy, according to their media guide.
Boy.
Yeah, man.
Well, who does it? Ravenwood has
Akers?
Acres, yeah.
Yeah.
His son kicked there.
Yeah.
Ray's son used to kick there.
I mean, Ravenwood and Lipscomb Academy have better kicking coaches than the Titans, who have no kicking coach.
Well, at least they finally, addressed it via Mickey's recommendation.
Yeah, but then they unaddressed it. Never saw it.
Where they leased them.
Yeah, their lease ran out. They hit their mileage totals.
Like, all right, we good now.
My ding dong is a rare Alabama ding dong for Saban in this whole quarterback situation. And the quote about why they went with Jalen Milroe, Lucas, you're a Tennessee person who grew up in Alabama. Did you hear his reason?
On why they went with
Jalen Milroe, finally.
like that he's the starter.
Yes.
From even though he didn't start against USF. No, I didn't. I missed this. What was it?
There's audio of it. He essentially said the way he handled himself on Saturday with those other guys. He's the only one that didn't play. But it was basically like he cheered for the other guys, and he was a leader. So I saw then he's the right guy. This has been more messed up. How are you Alabama and you don't have a quarterback? I mean, I know you got three, and I'm not taking anything away from those guys, but none of them could separate the job from each other. How did we get this far? And here's the other thing.
Well, I think there's a conflict of interest here right off the bat with the new OC and then him bringing his quarterback.
Yeah.
So that they're all instantly, and then he didn't live up to the form. And then Saban sitting back here is like, I want you to make the decision. But to me, it looks like it's Milroe. What are you thinking? I'm sure they were saying, hey, man, we need to put this other guy in. He knows my offense. When in reality, Milroe, you should say, let's get behind him, support him.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hurts in let's just develop him in the passing game on passes he can, complete at this time. Naturally, he has a big arm. He has a lot of upside. And just see if he can figure it out and stick with him and support him the whole way. I think that's what I would have done. It's tough at the quarterback because now once you start having three quarterbacks, guess what that means? You don't have a quarterback. You don't have a quarterback. And guess what? Guys start looking around in the locker room, not saying nothing. Hey, man. I mean, can we just settle on one? Okay, maybe two. Have some packages or something.
Right.
Come on, man.
We're this far into the deal, so it's Milroe's for now. We'll see how it goes. But a lot of people wondered if this was a bounce back year for Bama. It certainly does not look like it. And I know we got to go. Just one other 5-second ding dong. If you're Alabama, you should never play in South Florida. You should never go to their place and play. They should always come to your. I would love to talk to AD and say why. Well, we did it for recruiting, so all the recruits could come. That's the only thing I could think of.
The Florida recruits.
Why else? I get it. Florida, everybody wants people from Florida, but geez, you could just invite them to your place for an official visit or something. Final segment of this hour, Coach Matt coming up in about just under 30 minutes at 2:20. It's all coming up on Blaine and Mickey. Blaney, Mickey 1045, The Zone. Little Titans talk, little college football talk in the first hour, some ding-dong talk. Tony the Stud checked in, though. Wanted to talk about the Titans quarterback, 615-737-1045. Tony, it's been a minute, man.
Tony has
I'm transitioning from my summer job to my winter job.
Okay.
I'm going to be back for the winter, so I'm glad to be back to the Titans, man. And I love listening to you. I love listening to all the shows. The Zone and the Titans is just wonderful.
Great.
I had some talk about the quarterback, though. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill was day and night between week 1 and week 2 performance-wise in my mind, and I think in the general fans' mind. But in quarterback general, you guys were just speaking on it. You've got 3 quarterbacks in the room right now. I'm just curious what y'all's opinion is, because I'm not really familiar with the whole money side of the things going on with Tennessee right now and kind of where they stand with value of players and how much cap room and stuff that they have available. I mean, do you guys foresee any future for Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee after this season, just based on what he's making and based on the draft picks that we've made over the last 2 years? And I'll hang up and listen to y'all's response. Man, love the show. Can't wait to talk to you.
Thank you, Tony. Congrats on the transition to your winter job.
Any chance Ryan Tannehill?
So his cap hit is 36. His pay, I think, is 26 this year. It's
contract.
Yeah, that's about what it is. His cash is 26. I think his cap hit is 36.
I mean, you always want to say anything's possible, but even if they go to Super Bowl, I think they're going to transition to one of the 2 guys, probably Will Levis. I just think time's up. Like, not very rarely does a quarterback's contract. I know Kirk Cousins is one of them, but their contracts, they go through their whole contract. So I think they're and hopefully he does really well, and then we'll see what the market dictates for him at that point in time. But I say the odds are 20%, 25%. They can give him an extension, but man, that's not saying a lot for those guys that are backing him up. So man. At some point, they're going to turn the page, and I think all signs point to that. What do you think? Lucas, you got an opinion as well?
Man, it's so hard to win games in this league. It's so hard to win.
True.
And if you're the Brain Trust, if you're Varthon, which is we've named him, I did it, named him. We all. If you're Vrabel and Carthon and. Amy, when you stick your head in the room and whoever all the decision makers are, Malik's been around here long enough. He's better than last year, but you kind of know what you got with him. It's not to say he couldn't get better, improve more, but you know where you got with him right now. You really don't know much at all about Will Levis. You know what you scouted. We haven't seen much of him. So, and like you've talked about, yeah, NFL practices aren't like training camp practices. It's not that anymore. It's all trying to win the next game. Everything, right? I mean, your backup quarterbacks run the scout team plays. So, and it's not like Tannehill's going to be like, yeah, you guys take 15 of these reps today. You guys battle it out. If I'm like, I'm taking every one of these stinking reps. Good luck. You guys can stay after. Y'all go out there with Charles London and chuck it around, but I'm Ryan Tannehill, baby. I'm here to take all the team, first team snaps. Let's say they mess around and win the South. And they win 10 games. I just wonder at the end of the year, if you're them, you're like, hey, man, like we got all these metrics and Tannehill's arm and his getting rid of everything looks good. Like he looks like the guy who could keep winning 10 games. So do you say, let's try to figure something out. Let's try to keep him around. We'll let these other two guys battle it out. Maybe you sign him to a 2-year deal that could be a 1-year deal or something like that. I don't know. If you don't make the playoffs, to me, it's the easiest decision ever. If you're eliminated or you feel like let's say they're, 2-6 or 2-7 at some point. At that point, it becomes a very easy decision. I'll just be real interested to see how long Ryan can make this a hard decision for them. If it even goes to the end of the season, they win 10 games, win the South, or make the playoffs. Do they say, okay, he's never won the Super Bowl. Maybe they make the playoffs and don't win a game. We're not winning playoff games with him now. We may as well go to the next guy and see what he can do.
Well, I mean, hearing all that, I know we get real quick to the break, but I would say this. I think the decision was already done when they drafted Will Levis.
Yeah, I think
so.
you're-
Now the clock started on Barthon. That means Rand and Vrabel picking their quarterback.
Yeah.
So to me, the decision is done. I don't think they.
There's no
really-
more decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a competitive spirit here, and also you got to look at the big picture. Two teams in the AFC South have already got to jumpstart with their rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We need to get going. And regardless of what happens here, and that's to me what the decision was made when they moved up to get Will Levis. He's their guy moving forward under their regime, and they got to pick him, and he's going to be out there sooner or later, regardless of what Tannehill does.
Yeah.
But you're going to be our quarterback this year, and we're going to support you all the way through.
Sort of like the Chiefs here with Alex Smith when they took.
Exactly. That's
Alex
kinda
Smith
how I
made the
feel.
Pro Bowl. They went to the playoffs that year. They lost to the Titans when Mariota threw himself a
And that
pass.
was always on. They traded him.
And Andy Reid was like, "It's been great, thank you." But the plan was year two.
As soon as they took him in the
Mahomes.
first round, you know
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
All right. Lucas, thoughts real quick? I know you have to send us to the commercial.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It feels like the plan is in place. I just don't know what could happen to deviate from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like what events could take place to reverse course in that?
So going to the Super Bowl, that still won't reverse your course, would it?
I don't think so because then doesn't it feel like you're getting out at just the
right
most
time.
perfect time?
What's the odds of you going back again?
Yeah,
Exactly.
They pride themselves on
Exactly.
everybody tries to get out at the right time, which we've gotten out at the wrong time because we went over, but that's okay. We'll be right back. Hour number 2, Coach Matt coming up in about 20 minutes. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Appreciate everybody jumping with us for hour number 1. We will start hour number 2 now. You can hang out with us for the next, I don't know, not 60 minutes, 50 or so, 50 and change. We'll be right here with you. Coach Mack will join us at 2:20. Browns last night. Everybody got to look at them on Monday Night Football. What did you guys think of the, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to run 2 games at the same time on different channels. All I saw was people pissed about it. Hour in between. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I was okay. Yeah. Right. Everybody wins. You went to CPK for shrimp, huh? Okay. 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 I don't know how much soup I've ever eaten there. I
never got to watch this thing until we got home. That's what I'm getting at. They don't pay the cable bill there, so it was not accessible. I was up there watching. I said, hey, I didn't know what channel was on, so I just left it on.
ABC and ESPN. Them ding dongs get with a $9 antenna. Do I need to go through this again?
Well, she says, I'm not in control of the antenna.
You said, man, if you had braces on your teeth, you could get that channel. Channel 2 is a blowtorch. You can hold up a hairdryer near your TV and get channel 2. What are we doing, CPK? Yeah, I didn't have much interest in seeing the Saints again. I'd seen plenty of the Saints in week 1. Although I'll say this, there's several of my guys on that team, so I root for the New Orleans Red Wolves, Arkansas State. Yes.
Well, I cheer for Warner, the Ohio State linebacker who went to Cathedral High School.
See, you got a guy there.
Got motives.
But I was much more interested in the Browns. My son had a 2-hour baseball practice last night, so I missed the beginning of the game.
So I did too.
Got to get him home, got to get him fed. And all I could see was people saying, like, this game is drunk, but not the good kind. And then you realize all these turnovers, and it said this in the first hour, the Steelers scored 14 points on defense in that game. There's one play where I guess one of the Browns had picked up the ball, or it was a fumble or an interception, got the ball in his hand, started running, then he got the ball knocked away, and then the ball's just rolling around everywhere. It was just a total mess.
Wow.
And then ultimately, if I remember this right, and you know me, I'm pretty good with numbers, I think it was ESPN Next Gen said, the Steelers had -7 yards of total offense in the fourth quarter and won the game, came from behind to win. It's the lowest.
I definitely got into the game from second through the fourth quarter. Yeah, I was. I don't know how the Steelers won that game. Offensively, they did not look good. Besides Mr. Pickens' Carl Pickens' son getting a 70-yard touchdown, and that was catch and run, by the way, on like a dagger route. I call dagger route with a go with a dig behind it. And he caught it in stride and made a couple people miss and took it to the house. That was kind of the only thing I saw effective. They couldn't run the ball. Najee Harris was not effective. Didn't see the Chubb, injury live. Same time I was listening to it on the radio on the way home. But that was a game you thought Cleveland should have won. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna tell you this: Watson looks average at best. Like, Tannehill looks better than him. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him at this point in time, but he does not look like the guy that played for the Texans. He's not a top 10 quarterback right now. And I don't know what the reasons are for it, but he is not. And he made some bad decisions in this game. I don't even know why. I felt like he was trying too hard to make a play when it wasn't there instead of just throwing it away, making sacks, face masking people and just getting his hand and throwing hand all involved, pushing referees. Yeah, I thought he should have actually been thrown out of the game for that one. Yeah, I was a little perturbed and disappointed at the same time. I'm thinking I'm going to see this real Jackson now that he's got 6 games in his belt last year, get the rust off, and then this year he's going to be back to where he was. Nope. No. They're going to start saying they made a bad decision, and nobody ever admitted. If he plays like this the whole entire season, average, that ain't going to cut it.
We were talking about this off the air. Do you know what his dead cap hit is? Not even this year, at the end of this year. So for 2024, if they were like, this is terrible, it's not working. I looked it up. Wildest guess from you guys. I love to do this to you. Wildest guess what his dead cap is.
Well, I'm going to say this. Schwartzy did a great job on defense for the Browns.
He sure did.
I would assume that the head coach, OC, is calling plays. I like the way he kind of does things. It's kind of run-centric, but, I think it's okay. He going to get that guy fired. If Watson, because he had to coach, he had to want him just as much as everybody else in the organization. He going to get fired.
They could fire him. His dead cap hit for 20 is $200 million.
Oh, wait, they're going to watch this. They're forced to redo his deal.
The next year, it's 136.
Oh, my God.
The next year, it's 72. They're married to him for like 3 more years.
No, they're married to him for life. It's guaranteed. He got an NBA contract. If he wake up and my back hurt and I can't never play again, he got to get paid. All of that.
Guaranteed.
So, boy, they're not getting their bang for their buck, and they're not even close. I couldn't believe. I was like, hey. So sometimes mirrored with the right OC, scheme and players, it's all, very valuable for a quarterback. And man, he didn't look good. Yeah, he definitely didn't look like an All-Pro. That's for sure.
The Browns had 4 turnovers. They had 8 penalties for 81 yards. They gave up 6 sacks. They outgained the Steelers 408 to 255. Again, Pittsburgh scored 2 defensive TDs. And then, as you mentioned, the Browns lost Nick Chubb on what looked like a horrible knee injury.
Oh, horrific.
That seemed to take a lot of the wind out of their sails. Titans are 3.5-point dogs
unintentional
right
by
now.
the way, too. Minka.
Well, and people,
that
people seem to be upset about that. And thought there was some kind of thing.
Not intentional. And you're trying to, you're kind of in a catch-22 because sometimes when you hit high, then they give you a penalty. Then you go low. You're like, okay, you took the guy's knee. That was unintentional. That was clean. Unfortunately, that he got injured there, but that wasn't. Yeah. Minka, that was unintentional. I didn't feel like anything was malicious at all about that play. But you knew once you saw it, it's like a branch when it breaks off, and that ain't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And you going one way and your legs the other way, I would assume that he tore every single ligament in that knee. I think they said it was the same knee that he hurt against, was it the Titans or was it in college?
College.
Yeah, so dang, yeah, you feel for anybody. And, everybody speaks glowingly of Nick Chubb and how he is as a person, so it's very unfortunate, man. That's tough.
Yeah, the Titans, opened at 4.5-point dogs at Cleveland. It's down to 3.5, or at least it was when we came on the air. Titans have won the most underdog games in the NFL since 2018. 23 times as an underdog they've won their games.
Yeah, that's Vrabel. That's a Vrabel stat right there.
Underdog. When we were doing the pregame show Sunday, I almost said this at the end. I had it in my notes.
Oh, how many of them did you hit, by the way?
2 of 3. Mickey's Moneymakers.
Dang.
2 of 3, 66.7%. So if you're scoring at home, you're scoring at home.
You're making money at home.
I almost said, this sure seems like one of those games where nobody thinks they'll win, so of course they'll win. And of course I didn't have to say it. I mean, it was a Vrabel win,
Yeah, I thought they had a great shot at winning. So, yeah, I thought it was a coin toss game. Yeah. And usually when it's a coin toss game, the home team usually wins.
Well, and you said this over and over. Look, man, the Chargers always come in. They got all the great players in the world. It doesn't matter.
And
The
you know what? The
perception of
people in
them is-
Chargers is that it's not the Titans, it's the Chargers that lost that game.
Yep.
Whoa, wait a minute. Now, there was a two-tone team that was on the other side there that won that game. They took it from you.
Yep.
Don't get that confused there.
All right. We never get Coach Matt confused. Our Tuesday guest coming up. We'll get his observations, what he saw Sunday as the Titans get their first win in 10 months, first regular season win. Of course, he was on the call with Mike Keith. We'll also ask him a look ahead at the Cleveland Browns, who, again, were part of the 2 games at the same time experiment on Monday Night Football last night. We'll get to Coach Mack next. Whew, nothing like a win. Rolling into Tuesday and hearing that music because you know you're about to talk about that specific win with one of the guys who was on the mic on Titans Radio, the one and only Coach Mack, who joins us the same time every week. Coach Mack, brought to you, of course, by Two Rivers Ford, Middle Tennessee's most trusted local Ford dealership for 40 years. Coach, first of all, great to have you. Enjoyed sitting in the parking lot with you, watching the traffic drive away on Sunday and talking about that Titans win.
Yeah, Mickey, you and I were one of the smart ones. I guess everybody thought that as soon as the game was over, those 67,000 people were going to disappear quick. They didn't. And so, I mean, you might as well just go and visit with people in the parking lot and wait till it thins out a little bit. Of course, when you win a ball game, everybody likes to hang around anyway. So I enjoyed it too, Mickey.
How much oxygen does a win pump into a building? I mean, we saw that, but even like the building down the road where they live and practice every day.
Well, I mean, the people have always asked me, how important is winning, especially in this league. I said, how important is oxygen to your life?
Yeah.
I mean, it gives everything. And plus, you work so hard. You've only got 17 of these chances in the National Football League. It's not like Major League Baseball, or it's not like the NBA where you've got, 80 or 100, over 100 chances. You've got 17 chances, and you put everything into it. And so every ball game is precious. And so when you win one, it's a good feeling, but here's the reward for winning a game in the National Football League. Go do it again. That's the reward for it. Go do it, get reset, and go do it again.
It's amazing how, one of the most famous Coach Mack-isms is keep your powder dry. It is amazing how many people overreact to anything and everything that happens in week one of a season.
Well, I mean, and look, that's natural. That's human nature. But, if you make a living doing this, you understand that there's going to be ebbs and flows of it, and there's going to be peaks and valleys. And as long as you're stable in your preparation, what happens on the field is you got to realize you've got two groups going at it as hard as they can with one objective in mind, is to beat the other one. And so, I understand it. Look, I've done this for 38 straight years in this league. I completely understand the ebbs and the flows of the fans. Now that I do what I do, I get to, interact with them a lot, and which I really enjoy. But, when you're in this business, you've got to be able to put the blinders on, also put the earplugs in, and just focus on what you do, because that's basically all you can control.
The one and only Coach Mack controlling his Tuesday visit with us here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, speaking of control, the fans were irate naturally in the first week about the play call and the usage of the king and everything else. Not me at all, but what did you think about how the game went along and how Kelly was layering the calls? To me, it was somewhat the same as the week before as far as how he was layering the calls, but things kind of went in their way. They got some deep balls, so then they got to use Henry a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with you, Blaine. I mean, he does a nice job of putting his calls together and stacking one on top of the other, and also seeing what the defense is giving and what they're not giving. And yeah, look, the first ball game, you turned the ball over, and you forced the football. And look, it doesn't matter what your plan is. If you turn the ball over to people, I mean, it's hard to gin back and win back from that. But I mean, look, he does a nice job, and he's gonna. And as I said, after the ball game, and I said it during the week, and not just because I said it, but I know. I mean, what it goes on, he's going to use all his people, and that's what you have to do. And sometimes somebody has the hot hand, but you've also got to be able to dissect what's going on during the ball game and see how people are going to play you. And especially early in the year, you've got to find out, how they're going to play you, because every defensive coordinator is going to defend this Titans team differently, except for one point. When Henry's back there on conflict downs, they're going to put 8 people in the box because they don't want him to get started and beat him. So you've got to figure out how to use other people, and then be able to use the king when we need the king, which we always do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A good example of that is the Burks and the Moore deep balls were on first down with the king out there and play action pass to those guys. And that's how the king impacts the passing game right there off the bat. And really kind of changed the game with Burks. I thought that was a momentum swing because things weren't going so well offensively. And, I thought that changed the momentum in the entire game, really. What were your thoughts?
Well, no, it really did. And your point, Blaine, to this, I mean, and we can zero in on that. And that was, the first down passes, the people are in 8-man boxes. And so when you're in 8-man boxes, you're going to be in single high coverage. So you've got to be able to win on the outside. But the people that play us, just like Schwartzy will do this week, he's going to have more than 7 people up there to play the run, especially early when the score's not separated. He's going to have people up there early to be able to stop the run game, and the play-action game has got to be a big part of this offense. But for that to be a big part, your receivers have got to win one-on-one. Now, both of those, they were takeoffs, but in both instances, they both won the red line. And that red line is that imaginary line 5 yards from the sideline that both the DBs in deep coverage and the receivers try to win. You try to win that red line so that you got room to operate. And then the protection on the play action was really good, and Tannehill threw 2 perfect passes because both of those, the coverage wasn't like they were wide open running scot-free down the field. And so those are the plays you have to make in the National Football League to be able to flip a field. And as you said, at the time, you needed to flip your offensive fortunes because you're right, it wasn't going great at the time. But that's why you've got to keep punching at it and keep working at it, because just because it doesn't work early doesn't mean it has to continue to not work.
We're on with Coach Mack, giving us some Mack Attack, I guess. Lastly about the game for me, and that is, Dylan Radins coming and playing guard there. They had some little snafus on the ET stunts and blown blocking assignment there with Newman. So he gets in the game, and, man, I didn't realize he was in the game till later, so I went back and watched him, man. I was, pleasantly surprised that he did a solid job considering, coming in those kind of conditions, not playing and coming off an ACL injury. What were your thoughts about him?
Well, yeah, absolutely the same thing. And then basically, he's 8.5 months out from that, and that's a credit to him as to how hard he worked to get back. And plus, being active, he knew he was going to be the swing player, at whatever position needed help if it arose. And they started the game. They started the game with X in there. And the thing that I like too is, look, coaching is if something's not working right or somebody's struggling, you have to make a coaching decision on the spot. Let's do something else. And there were 2 things with that. They made the decision to make the change, and then Dylan Radins went in there and held his own. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. It was not perfect, but that was a legitimate defensive front they were going at, and it was a tight ball game. And so you were constantly going to have to be able to do a lot of things, knowing that the Chargers were going to bring some heat, which they were really good at. The 5 sacks, not all of them are always on the protection, but, you're going to have that challenge again this week, and that's what the National Football League is. But to your point about Dylan Radins, he was ready to go, but I've watched him work, this entire off season, when I've been up here, and he worked hard to get back. It's important to this guy. I know that.
Well, Coach, talk a little bit about Cleveland. Just played last night and lost naturally. Short week, physical game plan, opponent in their division. Kind of take us through how having a short week you would handle that being a former head coach, and then playing the Titans and how that kind of affects everything as far as preparation.
Yeah, well, to your point, it was a physical game. So the first thing you have to do is get your players' bodies back. That was always the challenge on a short week, when I was coaching, was to be able to get and have a plan in place early to be able to go through the schedule. You've got to alter your schedule, but physically get your players' bodies back. That's what you're going to have to do, because they knew they were going to have a short week, the entire, once the schedule came out. And so they'll have a plan for that. But then, as it was a physical ball game, they lost, some important players, especially when you lose Nick Chubb. They had some defensive players, dinged up also. Greg Newsome got dinged up because, that NFC North, that's a physical division. And so their main thing will be they to get their players' bodies back. And that's what's extremely, extremely important. And then, it was a defensive ball game. Neither offense was really able to generate much of anything. That was a defensive slugfest on both sides of the ball. And to me, you look at Cleveland's depth chart. Of course, they've got all the money in Deshaun Watson, and he hasn't played up to it yet. But what Jim Schwartz has over there on defense, and he's going to run that 4-3, but he's going to lean on those front 4 dudes. And if you get in third and chains against Schwartzy, I worked with him as an assistant head coach and a linebacker coach when he was the coordinator for 5 years here, been in a lot of game plan meetings with him. You get in third and 8, you're going to seen a lot of stuff from him, but he's going to lean on those dudes up front to be able to, especially rush with 4 and then cover with 7 back there. So it's going to be this is a huge challenge as far as with their defensive front because they've got dudes up there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We got a dude on with us, Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack.
Hey, Coach, you gave us
Mickey.
a little bit of a rundown with Schwartzy and the Browns' defense. With their offense, that was such a wild game last night. They couldn't stop turning the ball over. They had a bunch of yards, but they kept giving the ball back to the Steelers. What's the biggest challenge? As you mentioned, Watson's looked a little rusty. Biggest challenge with those guys, and now an offense without Nick Chubb, the backup running back, had some nice moments last night. But what do you see with them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Jerome Ford really had a nice night. I mean, Jerome Ford's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of speed, and then Pierre Strong Jr. is the guy behind him. And their receivers, Amari Cooper is a legitimate vet. Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones. They got Cedric Tillman, the rookie there from Tennessee that's in there. And I've always really liked their tight end, David Njoku.
Yep,
I've always really liked him. And look, they've got money in that offensive line too. Their right tackle is the rookie Dawan Jones, the absolute giant from Ohio State. So and Deshaun Watson, I mean, the guy and he made most of his plays last night with his legs. But to me, he's got to become more consistent for them. I don't want him to be consistent this week against us, but they've got people. But the thing is they've got a defense that is good enough. Now, losing Nick Chubb, because Nick Chubb to me is one of the elite backs in this league. I mean, he really is. And I hated to see that. I really do, because this is a violent collision sport, but I never want to see any of these athletes hurt. But that being said, they've got a defense that they can play to if they just don't turn the ball over, because that defense is a solid defense, and they're going to create problems. They're going to create problems for opposing offenses, which we saw last night. So to me, the big thing is offensively and I'm sure they're looking at the tape today and they're going through it and in their minds and in their meetings, they're saying, just don't turn it over. Don't turn it over. Let the game play itself out, but just don't turn it over. That was the biggest problem.
How did you think, maybe one guy, if he has to play a lot and start again, I know Trey Avery was targeted a heck of a lot on Sunday afternoon. Ooh, he did a good job, I thought, spot tackling. You're going to get gotten by those big Chargers receivers if you get enough targets anyway. What did you think of his play standing in there as a backup thrown into the starting role?
Well, I mean, that's why he's on this team, because he proved that, when last year when he'd come in. I mean, he will battle, and yes, he was outsized quite a bit, from those dudes last week, and you're going to lose some of those, but the thing that I liked is he kept accepting the challenge, and then in that last drive they went up and got on top of them and squeezed them, and they went 3 and out, and then we won the game. But I don't really look. I'm not worried about physical limitations for my players. Whenever I was coaching, if I've got a guy that will battle and that will come back and come back and not hang their head if something goes wrong or start getting wide-eyed when it looks like they're coming at me all the time, those kind of guys that step up and say, okay, come on, bring it back to me again. I think Trey Avery's that kind of dude.
Coach Mack is that kind of dude. Joins us every Tuesday in the second hour of this program.
Well, Coach, I guess Schwartzy being in you guys' meeting room, the Titans, and then naturally you get him in the meetings and understanding who he is. I guess any insight onto the thought process, or is it just more about watching his tools and players that he has, how he's utilized them to kind of get a little insight of how to plan and attack against his defense or his wide nine and all those things? What do you kind of give us a little peekaboo behind the curtain on Jim Schwartz, maybe what he likes to do?
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, he's all the years I was with him, and we leaned on that front four to begin with, and then, he's always going to be very creative on third and chains. You get on offense in third and chains, we always had something ready, for that in our nickel meetings, during the week, and he's going to do that. But the first thing that he does, and he instills it from the start, is you're going to be physical. We're going to stop the run. We're going to stop the run, and we're going to earn the right to rush the passer. And so that's what he's always done. Wherever he's been. He started his coaching career with Bill Belichick. Then he was with Jeff Fisher. I mean, he's been with guys that know how to game plan defensively. As I said, I was in the room with him for 5 years game planning, but we always leaned on that front four, and you've got to have that front, and we always had it here when we were here together. But then you've got to be able to be creative with what you do with your nickel and your dime. But to do that, and again, it was always the mantra: physical and stop the run, make them one-dimensional so that we can go get them. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to change his philosophy. Now, what he does and how he wants to match up, I don't know if he's going to flip corners or not. We used to flip corners some, not every week. I mean, they've got Greg Newsome that got hurt. I don't know if he'll move Denzel Ward around now because that's their best corner that's left. I don't know any of that. But I do know this, that he is always very, very meticulous about game planning and being able to find matchups. But he's got a solid base. He doesn't try to trick you every week. He's got a solid base that he works from, and it starts up front.
I guess lastly for me, did Ryan Tannehill prove anything to you that you didn't already know by coming back and playing really efficient this past game?
No, I mean he's done that his whole career. I mean think about what he did when he first came here. I mean Miami let him go because they thought they could do better, and he came in here and just worked. And then once he became a starter, he's a professional. And the guy's physically and mentally tough. I mean he took some shots in that game. He's taken shots before. I mean in games and just gotten up and come back. Didn't surprise me at all. Didn't surprise me at all. It didn't surprise me his reaction to a very poor game. He said, I was bad. And he said, I don't like it, and I'll fix it. And watching him work during the week, it didn't surprise me at all. And, that's the kind of dude he is. That's who he is. That's why he's been in the league so long. And, the players in the locker room, as you well know, Blaine, and you can attest to this, if your quarterback's a tough dude, you'll rally around that guy for a long time.
No doubt about it. Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Hey, on the way out, Coach, after, somebody always puts out that if you start 0-2, you got, an 11% chance of making the play. We've seen all that this week. I wanted to ask you this. So we're 2 weeks into the season. How long until you get into a season, until you really feel like as a coach, as a staff, that you really know what the identity of a team is? How many weeks into the season?
It depends on the makeup of your team. I mean, it really does. If you've got a veteran team back, it doesn't take you very long. If you've got, in this league now, the way this league is set up, where you flip your roster about 34% of people every year, it just depends on the makeup of your team, and it also depends on how fortunate or unfortunate you are early in the season with your injuries, because that affects a lot of things, in this league, and we all know that. So I don't think there's any set time. But the thing that has to be important is that you start to figure out what some guys can do best. And that, to me, comes with your new people. And also, this is the ultimate team game. I mean, it is the ultimate team game. And so you've got to be able to figure out how guys are working together. And then, if you've got veteran players, and Mike Vrabel was a veteran coach, and he was a great player, but he also knows that, you talk to your players too, as you start getting into the season, and what you like, what you don't like, how you feeling here, what are you thinking there. I mean, it's a group effort, but there's no set timetable on it. It just has to happen organically, but you've got to be paying attention to it constantly.
The one and only Coach Mack, our guest every Tuesday at this time. You never want to miss the Mack Attack, brought to you by the good folks at Two Rivers Ford. Coach, enjoy the rest of your day, and just another episode of Mack Talk coming up, right, for the people to get their questions answered.
We got Mack Talk tonight. Phone lines will be loaded, which Brian and I absolutely love. As I said, I loved hanging out of that box, waving to all the fans after we won when they were walking up in the rain. They didn't care that it was raining. Winning feels good. Let's keep it going.
Amen to that. The one and only Coach Mack. Catch you on Mack Talk tonight with Rhett. Coach, we'll talk to you next week.
See you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hopefully after a win has been stacked. Question about Ryan Tannehill and his play on Sunday. How good was he in the fourth quarter and overtime on Sunday? Some might even say perfect. I'll explain it next. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday afternoon.
Ooh, who's that you playing? Yeah, no.
Was that Run DMC?
I sure don't know.
Little Run DMC.
Oh, I was trying to come up with some of the music people were suggesting. We should have played that every break.
Dude, you could just leave. You could always leave up Run DMC. That's our era right there. Were you a big Run DMC guy?
Yeah, a little bit. It was on.
Well, you had your chill music on game day. That's still the craziest thing I've ever heard. You're like, no, man, I was fired up enough. I had to have the music to kind of get me centered.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to relax, and I didn't need to get all tense. My passion for the game just come out. Yeah, I didn't need all that.
I saw Arden Key telling Caleb the same thing recently.
did he?
Caleb did an interview with him in the locker room where he said it's got to be R&B before the game, not hip hop. It's got to be a little more low key.
Yeah, you got to. That's you understanding who you are.
Mm-hmm.
About hey, what gets you jacked up, what gets you hyped. So yeah, you listen to music in the locker room, but I mean, at the same time, I want to relax, visualization, and lay down and close my eyes for a split second and go through all the plays that I'm about to make. Yeah.
How long until you got to that point of your career where it's like, I need some music to center me. I got to close my eyes. I got to focus. How long till you get to that point?
Probably when I became a starter. So in a full time, probably my second year sometime. Yeah, I realized that I was getting a little too high because before I was on special teams and just kind of role player. So naturally, I was still kind of doing that. And then, it follows you from college. You still getting hype music and all that. So it was pretty quick for me.
Tannehill was probably listening to some relaxing music before he went out for the fourth quarter. This is ESPN put this out. In the fourth quarter in overtime, he was 7 for 7, 94 yards, a touchdown, and a 158.3 passer rating. And I thought, that number sounds familiar. If you Google that, that's the highest passer rating you can have. 158.3. That's a perfect passer rating. So when you needed him most, he couldn't have been any better.
He was 20 for 24. He should have been 21 for 24. That Wesco dropped that ball. And I don't care if it wasn't dead on. It was catchable. Easy. And by the way, he gets another false start. I'm entitled to say he needs to be benched. He can't get that kind of leeway. He's not that kind of dude. Yeah, quit jumping off sides, putting us in the hole. Wesco. You going to go west? And we are not west if you don't know your map.
I've been keeping this little list of
Wesco. Come on, bro. That's 3 times he false started, bro.
We have our, what caught your attention, and I kind of had this written down. I wrote it down Sunday night. What has your attention from the Titans after Sunday? And we talked about the 16 yards per punt return, and Vrabel will not talk about it because I guess he's fine with that. I mentioned,
well, you know what he's going to say there though. He goes first say, well, Stonehouse seems to kick it up higher.
Right. Well, remember, that's what they said in the offseason.
Right. That's what I said. So that's why he's not addressing it. He's already addressed that in his mind. You can't be out kicking our coverage. We need to get it up there. Watch this. Oh, yeah. Look at the Chargers guy. He kicked it up and far.
That dude kicked the ball.
On, man. That dude's got a bionic leg, man.
16 yards. That scares me. 16 yards per punt return. The guy has a full head of steam before you ever lay a hand on him or make him move his feet. That scares me. These are not humans, these people. You are one of them. Y'all aren't humans. I don't want to give a non-human that far to run before anybody gets near it. But that had my attention. And the 4 more X plays on defense, that had my attention. 2 back-to-back at one point. And the other thing was Trayvon Wesco. He had another false start and dropped a pass.
Oh, you wrote it down.
yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that was, yeah. Then he looked like he got brick hands. I mean, come on. Everything catching with the body. Come on, man.
Hey.
Somebody else can get out there and block, man.
Odakoya, Kevin Rader. I'd call one of those dudes up.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Have you thought Wiley one time? Have you seen Wiley and thought, that was Wiley. He just did that thing.
I think I saw him in motion.
Yeah.
And then might have saw him flash on the screen or where we're sitting up there. I had to look up at the TV. I thought I saw him a couple times. But
thought you saw him.
I thought. I don't know how many plays did he play this week.
He played more plays. I looked.
Yeah, exactly.
He played like 13 or something this week.
Because he played on offense, I think.
He played 2 last week against the Saints. Because we looked, it's like he played 2 plays. At that point, and Vrabel actually got asked about the tight ends. Somebody asked him, and he's like, well, I'd like to see more from them. Like, see, this was
Chig was involved. I mean, so this year,
Chig
this
got
week,
4 targets, 4 catches.
Yeah.
But he mentioned them being more involved. He said more consistent blocking.
That's all D-Hop doing a good job blocking. NWI did a good job blocking. So I'm blocking defensive end one time. NWI, I was like, whoa, that's not going to look good on film for that
guy. not for the other guy.
Yeah, no, not for the other guy. People going to be making fun of you. You going to let a wide receiver block you?
NWI, man, he knows where his bread is buttered. I looked. He played like more special team snaps than just about anybody. And then he did all of his, caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah. And did his little dance.
He did his dance. And it was also one of those things you talked about, play action. Tannehill had handed it to Henry. Then he handed it to Henry. Then the next time it looked like he's going to hand it to Henry, what'd everybody do? Ran straight to Henry. NWI standing 10 feet in front of him. Bip. But Henry draws a crowd.
Yeah. I can't. I don't even like that old school route NWI ran on that play. He just like turned like he gonna look out like I'm going over there and then I'm gonna go over here.
Yep.
And I was like, you fell for that, bro?
The okey doke.
Oh man. That's the DB in me, man. Cause it's hard. Man, you got him. It worked. NWI said, where are my haters at now? He's still 3, bro.
But he gets 2. To be a 3 because the right 2 are in front of him. So there he goes, like you said.
Go.
The guy guarding him couldn't handle him.
Guess what? Well, inconsistency. Look what he did this game. He could do that every game. We put him out there and it's a 2. No, Timmy.
Stop that.
Timmy. Leave him there and he will dominate those guys.
All right. We're going to try to dominate tomorrow. Again, we are live at Monroe Carroll Jr. Cancer Center as we kick childhood Seacrest Studios there as we kick childhood cancer. I can't wait to be there tomorrow and introduce you to what we're doing some more and talk about that and help some great kids just kick something that none of them should ever have to deal with. But in the meantime,
and in between time,
it is time for 3HL. We'll see you. Peace.